Good morning, everybody. Pleased to have one of my coaching clients, somebody that I coached. I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. He'll get a chance to correct me on the specifics when we get to starting, but it was a little while ago. And he's an IT manager, two, I guess is the technical term for it, the real classification. We're not going to for privacy purposes and for not wanting to step on anybody's toes within specific departments at the state of California. We're not going to talk about his specific department, and we're not going to use his full name. So hope everybody understands why we're going to do that. But aside from that, I'm very pleased to have Amit agreeing to do this video with me. It's kind of a success video, but more than that, he in particular, I mean, I kind of knew this, but I didn't have real ownership over the fact that the state is a good place for IT professionals to come and work. But one of the challenges the state has is informing, I'll just call them private world IT professionals about the benefits that they could gain by coming to work for the state. And so therefore it's a challenge and a roadblock. And specifically because Amit is a IT manager too. He is a hiring manager for the IT world. He runs up against this frequently. And so we're trying to do an educational video to explain in some detail, not all the details. We're neither of us is an HR professional, and we specifically don't work in recruiting and outreach. But from functional standpoints, I was a manager too with the department I worked with, and he's a IT manager too at the department he works. Functionally, we're going to speak to it at that level. And so hopefully you'll get some benefits out of that. How are you doing this morning, Amit?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm doing very well.
Excellent. Amit is on the Pacific coast of the U.S., so it's morning time. His time. It's early evening time. I'm over in England right now, so there's a little bit of time difference. So I may say evening and instead of morning, and he may say morning instead of evening. Whatever. Don't let that don't let that get in the way of listening and understanding. We're physically in two different places in the world right now. So anyway, we're going to kind of do this in a question and answer format. Some of the questions are going to apply regardless of what classification you might be looking at. If you're hopefully there's some good people out there who are possibly looking to get on with the state of California, and this might be beneficial for you. So we'll ask and answer some general questions, and then because of the IT focus that I already explained, we're going to get down into some IT specific. So with that, are you ready to start? I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm hoping Amit is going to provide most of the answers, but we may do a little bit of tag teaming on that. So are you ready to start, Amit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just referring to my list of questions here. So first, I think I said it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, but how did you come across or learn about me, Amit?
Yeah, it was nearly 1.5 years ago. So I think it was in the February or March of 2024. I began researching IT jobs in the state of California. I was new into it, so the process was little new because very different process. And then I put a search on Google that how to get job. Is there any tutorial? Because I know that Google has all kinds of tutorial. And then, yeah, your name popped up, your videos popped up. I went through some of the videos. I actually downloaded your book. And then I felt that was what I was looking for. And then I had a lot more detailed question about many other things. And then, yeah, I joined your consulting and
We
coaching
did
class.
we
Yeah.
did some one-on-one sessions.
Right, right, right.
All right.
And I was very happy because that was very, very, pointed answer, well-researched answer. Yeah. So I got a lot of benefits from that.
And I guess it worked out well for you, and it
Yeah.
worked out well for the state of California too,
Yeah.
because they got a fantastic IT manager, very high level manager too. Um, it's a win-win situation. I love helping good people get jobs with the state because they need good people, and you were one, you are one. So that's what this video is about too. It's about helping good people get good jobs with the state of California. So appreciate you sharing that part. And so now you answered the second part. I was asking specifically about watching my videos and stuff, and you did. You even downloaded the book. I appreciate that. So what were you trying to accomplish though specifically? We you talk in general, but specifically, what were you trying to accomplish when you were looking at the state as a possibility?
So, um, first, I wanted to validate, understand the compensation, the benefits. And there was an interesting part about the retirement, which people from the private world really did not, it was not obvious. So that helped me to validate what I understood.
Mhm.
Because it's that matter is very, yeah, there is a quite a technicalities in there. And the other process is that how the selection process goes on. So, because this is process is very different than what we encountered in the private sector. Okay, so there were a lot of technical questions I had. So I posed those questions in your coaching class, and I got answers. But your book and the videos series that actually gave me the first batch of the answers which I was looking for.
Okay. Okay. So my next question was about, what sessions did we do and, that kind of stuff. And you've already answered that question. We did, if my memory serves me correctly, we did what I call an initial consult. It was a high level, any question is viable, and you just shotgun out the questions, and we talked like that, and I gave you some good guidance. You already had your classification nailed. Some people, when I do that session, they don't even know what classification pertains, like what's a good fit for their skill set on the outside with the classification on the inside. But you knew what was going to be IT, so that was easy. And then I think we went from an initial console. You had already read the book, so you got a lot of answers that way, and kind of a path forward. But then we did a interview prep session, I think, before your first interview, and um, that was all she wrote with you. It just, and that's typical of all my coaching clients. They just need one or two sessions that it doesn't take hours and hours, and it doesn't cost a heck of a lot. Which I've had some of my coaching clients, they got coaching from other career coaches, and they spent hundreds and
Yeah.
thousands of dollars. I'm not exaggerating, and it's a shame, but I'm glad that there are people like you who are proactive, who do Google searches and find the YouTube channel, and they're able to get good information for what it was never meant to be a big money making thing. It was meant to help people. So we're good on that. And so that basically goes through what the general questions were I had for you. Now I'm going to kind of move into the IT specific questions. This could still help people. So hang on and listen to some of this. I think it can still help you, because we're going to talk a little bit about the retirement plan and the retirement benefits. This applies to anybody and everybody in general. So hang on. The next question is, now this is about IT folks. So are there, in your opinion, in your educated opinion, being an IT professional and being an IT manager too at the state of California, are there viable opportunities for IT folks at the state?
Yes, there is a lot of IT opportunities in the state. Unfortunately, I'll share my experience. Unfortunately, before 2025, I was not even aware. I did not even imagine that in the government, in the state government, there can be so much of IT professional opportunities. I will try to use some of the terms from the private world because we are trying to address the audience who comes from the private IT sector. So in private IT sector, we have positions like engineer, senior engineer, and then architect, then engineering manager, then engineering director, and then we have engineering vice presidents. So those I'll try to give the equivalent names based on my experience. So people start after bachelor's in engineering, people start at engineering level. So we in the California state, we have IT specialist one, and then we have senior engineers, we have IT specialist two, then we have architect, we have IT specialist three, which is the highest technical position in the state of California. In the private, we have engineering manager, we have IT manager one. In the private, we have engineering director. Here we have IT manager two. In private, we have engineering vice president. We have career executive assignment. So that there is a very one-to-one relationship you can think of. And
Perfect.
I have analyzed the job roles, the amount of discussion skills. It matches very well.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's great. Now, I don't want to get too technical or too detailed, but I know there also is a classification because I've helped a couple people get in with the state as IT supervisor one and two.
Yeah.
That kind of fits in between the specialists and the managers, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So the next question. Um, so yeah, I know because I've gotten questions from IT folks who did find the channel somehow or some way. Um, and their first question is, wow, there's a big pay difference. But there's also other things to consider too. And you created a good PowerPoint deck. When I appreciate you're doing that. And this is again based on your particular specific experience. I'd like to share that deck and have you walk us through some of the differences between the state and the private world. So, with that said, I'm going to go over to share
Yeah,
and
thank you. I can say it.
go ahead and take over.
Yeah, thank you. So, the biggest question people who are in the private sectors, especially in IT, when they move into the public, one of the biggest question was that are there any opportunities? Yes, there are opportunities that we already talked. And to get convinced, I think one can look at the Cal Careers and give a search on IT by classification, and then they can see it. So that part is easy. Now, the other part, people have the second biggest blocker or concern people have is that, hey, I see the salaries which are quoted in the job description. Those are too low. Those are half of what I am making in the private sector or I can make in the private sector. Then the third question is, hey, I am in a different location. I have to move to that location. How does it work? So let me talk about the third question first, and then we'll get into the second question. So to be in the California state, one has to reside in California. So there is no question about it. If you don't want to move California, this is not for you. Now, if you are in California, if you are in IT sector, most likely you will be concentrated into two locations. That is north of California, San Jose, San Francisco Bay Area, and the second location is towards the Los Angeles, San Diego, Irvine area, and these two locations are not by chance. This is where the technology industry, the computer engineering, computer software engineering industries are located. So if you are California, you came from outside or you are in the California, most likely you will be located in these two areas. So then the question is about, do I have to move out of this areas to the locations, like for example, the concentration of the job of the California state, in Sacramento and maybe towards the Los Angeles? Yes, you have to move because in future we will have to have more days on the office. So there is no question. And one understands that in the technology sector, you moved in to these cities. Was not most likely you were not born. So you are mobile. You took this. Now you have to be mobile again. Now the one important thing what people in IT industry should realize is that the issue about the job security. And this is lately for, I think, 1.5 years, this is the biggest concern people have in the technology industry. And this is nothing new because I have been looking and studying this industry. We first saw it in 2000. A big group of people are laid off. It happened in 2008. 2008 to it continued to 2010, and then it is back in 2025. So this is the state of the industry. It will happen again and again and again. So if we are in the tech industry, if we are doing a long haul 30 years, we will see this more than one time. So that means we have to be mobile in terms of location, in terms of moving across sectors as needed, but being within our skill set. I wanted to now use that issue about job security to move into the discussion of the pros and cons. In private sector, in California, it is at will employment. Layoffs need not be based on performance. That is our observation. For lately, what we have seen is that during the COVID or before COVID, the technology industry overhired. There is no doubt about it. I was in the private sector, I knew. So people they hired because they got cash at a low interest rate. Basically, the tech industry was financially irresponsible, except one or two companies. So then what you get when the screws are tightened, when you start becoming responsible? The layoff will happen. And at that scale, it is not possible to look that, okay, who is the good performer and not good performer. The babies are being thrown out with the bathwater. That is the part of the business.
Yep.
Now, that is where public sector, California state is good. California state, because we know what happened with the federal. Layoff does happen. I think I'm not that experienced, but it is not at that scale.
No, and it
here,
hasn't happened. If I could just interject, it hasn't happened since Governor Schwarzenegger was the governor some like 20 years ago. There has not been another layoff, and there's no forecasted layoff. So the job security, I think your point is, they don't just hire and fire or hire and lay off like they do in the private. They swing one way and then they swing the other, and it depends on the economic wins, the business right wins. It's not like that at the public. The job is very secure at the public. So I think that is the point you're trying to make.
Yeah. And I will talk about the benefits of it from professional angle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to come back to the second question which I raised, that people have a big blocker. Oh, that salary which is quoted in the job desk in the job posting is very low. I get much more on that. Now we have to understand that the private sector, I call it the compensation is front loaded. That means they give you the compensation immediate cash upfront. What you do with that, it is your problem. How do you plan your retirement is your problem. The 401k is a very small part. Okay, I would not even consider that. Now in state, I have seen it that's maybe 40% of your value, economic value, what you get is backloaded. That means you get it as a retirement. And that is substantial.
And we're going to talk about specific examples or scenarios on the next slide. So
so the calculation, so that the claim I'm making that is substantial, that you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
Now, I have heard from other people also that after actually at the retirement age, and retirement age in the private sector technology industry starts at 45 plus. It's a forced retirement. You will lay off and then you cannot find a job because you will not get hired at that salary level which you are getting. That
Right.
is a reality.
They
Okay.
can
Now,
hire
many young
younger,
people,
they
yeah,
can hire younger, cheaper people, right?
exactly.
So they
Now,
do.
yeah, I have seen this from 2000. From in year 2000, 25 years back, I knew that after 45 years, it is going to be like that. Now, people don't realize that, they don't research it, but it is a reality. Like I have seen many people who got laid off, but they were ready. They moved into the second career track, and they were good. But people who are not prepared, they were affected quite badly. And people don't talk. That means people are not aware, and that is a problem. Okay.
Yeah. And so
Nobody.
effectively, there is age discrimination
Yeah,
in the private industry, in the corporate industry,
in the corporate
and
industry.
there's nothing that can be done about
Yes.
it. It just is what it is.
Yeah. And that is, but that is not there in the state.
Nope, it's
Okay.
not.
And yeah. And the good thing is that if you can plan at 45 plus years, you can move to the state, you get the best of the both worlds. And I will talk about it later on again.
Yeah, and my own personal experience is I got my first job at the state. I was 57 years old. So they do not discriminate. I mean, I don't know how better to put it or how clearer to be. And I've helped other people who are older than me get jobs at the state of California. So they don't discriminate. They're trying to hire people with knowledge and experience, and they're
Yes,
they're grateful that they can hire people with knowledge and experience. So the age actually works for you, not against you, right?
exactly. Exactly. And it has also a meaning from competition. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is my next point.
Okay.
So in the private sector, for the jobs which shows very high salary, there is intense competition. So people who have been in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, they would know that industry would only hire for people of a certain profile, worked in a certain job, but not outside. It is very difficult to get in. It's kind of like a winning a lottery ticket. But in public sector, the competition is much subdued. And what it means is the hiring bar is much, much lower. And sometimes it is lower than it should be because the person who applies, they will never be effective. And that is simply because people don't know the people who are competent, they don't apply enough. Has been historically. Okay, now things are a little changing, but which means a person with a good amount of skill, he stands to benefit if he applies early enough now. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And
Perfect.
then we talked about the age discrimination. I
Yep.
already covered that 45 plus, you don't get a chance. Women don't get a fair chance. It is understood. How much you argue about it, we have seen it. Okay. But here, those issues are not there. There are a fair amount of good amount of people, 45-year plus, women, they get a fair chance. Everything is very fair thanks to the system the Cali HR has put and the expectations.
100%. Yep.
The other factor is the workplace toxicity and hygiene factor. And I would like to talk about it more because especially it has a meaning to the private sector, technology sector. Because of the competition is very high and because there is a layoff, there is always a fear about the performance. So what happens is that drives people to have a toxic environment. The people that are high performer, there are managers who have to be high performer. So they start putting pressure in different ways on people. Okay. Now that is the outcome. It is not that they want to do it, but that is the fear. The fear is driving. And it is not only the technology sector. If you see from other sectors, I'll just use other academia in higher education where that hey, if you are not getting funds, you will not get a promotion, you will be thrown out. So the same type of toxicity. Okay. But in state, there are laws and processes which serves a good amount of protection, quite a very well good protection. I have seen that working. Okay. So I think after 50s or something, I think those starts making sense.
Yeah.
Younger people, they don't think, oh, I want to work, I want to be in a competitive environment. Their focus goals are different, but people later on, the force goes different. So I am thinking that this things really benefits people who are affected by the discrimination and other kinds of discrimination, and they have knowledge and good skills. So why not?
Yeah, 100%. And so that
Yeah.
that does not just apply to the IT folks in particular, that applies to anybody and everybody. I can tell you a lot of my coaching clients come to me because they're tired of beating their head against the wall, being on the hamster wheel, right?
Yeah.
Working more hours than they get paid, lots of pressure being put on them, working more than 40 hours, 50, 60,
Yeah.
70, 80. The higher you go up, the more hours you're expected to work. All of that, yeah, all of that, comes into play in terms of work-life balance is what
Yes.
what I
Yes.
call
Work-life
it.
balance. I did not specify that as a separate
No,
one, but
no,
I
but
think,
no, but you've
yeah.
you've you captured that in like
Yeah.
two or three of these. That's what we're talking about here. The
Yeah.
work-life balance when working for the state of California is a tremendous benefit. You go home every day and every Friday in particular feeling pretty good about what you did, and you're not getting a lump in your stomach Sunday night knowing you have to go to work Monday morning because that workplace toxicity, that high level of stress that is put on, because short-term thinking and looking at the bottom line, like they do in the corporate world a lot of times, that it's just a lot better working at the state of California. So
And now that you have brought it up, I'm just thinking, I read a research study article which was telling that when do we feel stressed? We feel stressed when we think that we do not have control.
yeah,
So in private sector, in the technology industry, that control, you don't get the feel of the control. But in public sector, because the rules are structured in this way, work processes are there, you have more control. So I think that
100%.
is one of the biggest thing that you have less stress in the public sector in that way.
100%. Okay, so I think we're ready for the next slide. Do you agree?
Yeah, but I would like to also add something, the
Okay.
cons part.
Yeah.
I kind of started talking about it, but I would like to, mention it.
Mhm.
So if a person is young, he is very aggressive, he is well skilled, then he would see that the private sector, there are more learning opportunities. So I think that kind of people, that kind of profile fits well with the private sector. Now, but when you go past 45, then because of the expectation structure and your life expectation, I think the public sector makes sense. So I wanted to put this clear that it is not that there is no cons. It's a question of fitting, that how does it fit with your life and your personal temperament and etc.
Makes perfect sense. I'm glad you added that in there. So I'm going to go on to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And this is specifically focused on one example of a salary comparison.
Yeah.
So,
So I would like to pick up a scenario that joining as an IT manager one at age 45 or plus. So you will see the salary which is quoted in the job posting is around 104,000 per year. Now I wanted to break it down that what this 104,000 means. That is that we call it economics nominal value. But the economic
this is
value
and
is
this is
not what,
November of 2025. I just want to put that out there because
yeah,
this video may be up for a little bit. It goes up, every year
yeah, yeah,
based on
it,
the
it
cost.
goes up.
Yeah.
This
So this
salary
is
figure is, I
November
think, adjusted.
2025.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to explain the assumptions of showing that the economic value is way, way more than 104,000 per year. And also the relative economic value compared to the private sector. There's two aspects. So the first assumption is that a person can work until 65 years without forced retirement, which gives 20 years of service. Now, this 20 years has a special meaning. So now a good ambitious performer can go up to ITM 2 level, and some of them very good performer can go to CA levels, a level higher than that. So I'm assuming that 4 to 7 years as ITM manager 1, 5 to 7 years as ITM manager 2, and then rest 3+ years of service as a CA level. And I'll use that why these are important. Now, it is important because of the pension value calculation. So the pension is calculated as your average of last 3 years salary, as I understand, multiplied by number of years of service, multiplied by 2.3%. And that is the amount you get in pension. So using this, the CA, I looked up the CA salary average. I think it comes around to at least 200,000 per year at Sacramento. Okay, it's a low-cost environment, not like San Francisco Bay Area, very expensive.
Yeah.
So that gives 92,000 yearly pension. Now, to understand that, to get 92,000, what does it mean in terms of economic value? Now, if a person is working in the private sector, if he has to get that 92,000 yearly pension after 65, what amount of investment does he need to get that kind of return? Okay, so I use that industry standard 4% investment return or draw rate. So that gives that you have to have around 2.3 million of corpus to get that 92,000 yearly pension.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking that, okay, to get to the 2.3 million, how much you have to save for this 20 years? And I use the discounting factor of 7% growth rate. And that 7% comes from the market growth, S&P 500 or something average over maybe last 60 years or so. It is 50,000 per year. So that means you are not getting a salary of 104, but you are getting 154 per year from if we factor in the pension part.
Effectively. Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah.
Now, in the retirement, we not only get the pension, but we also get the medical benefits. The same medical benefits, what you are getting will continue and that is very important. At maybe 45, 50, people don't understand, but after 65, it is the reality.
Yeah.
Because we are looking at the future.
Yeah.
And I did some calculations, so that is around, it means that we need to save around 90,000 per year to get to a corpus which will pay for the medical benefits beyond age 65.
Yeah.
So that means if we are doing a calculation, equivalent amount, effective amount, it is 50,000 plus 19,000, so around 70,000 or 69,000 income per year. So add to that 104,000. So it is 173,000 per year of economic value.
Yeah.
So that is hidden. That is, people don't understand readily. Unfortunately, the job posting, this is not explained.
Nope.
Now we have to understand that this is in Sacramento area, is a lower cost of living. Because as I mentioned that our audience are most likely to be in the San Francisco Bay Area and the San Diego. Both are expensive fairly. So I did a cost of living ratio calculation compared to San Francisco Bay Area. So compare if it is $1 in Sacramento, it is $1.46 in San Francisco Bay Area. So I use that factor. So that means the salary of IT manager 1 in Sacramento is equivalent to 252,000 salary in San Jose.
Yep.
Now, anybody in private sector will know that this is the best salary of IT managers in that area. So that means the public sector pays actually more or less equivalent as the private sector. It is just a presentation problem. It is not presented well. Yep. So that means you really don't lose anything to move to public sector. You only gain. You only gain. And this is, if you factor in with the job security and everything, you are a winner.
Yeah.
Just by taking a decision.
If you factor in all those other things we talked about, that factor into quality of life.
Quality of life,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, I think it's a no-brainer then. I mean, you just clearly showed that in terms of the money, the dollar to dollar, it's at least equivalent. And
It's
then
at least
because
equivalent.
of all those other better quality of life factors, it should be a fairly easy decision.
Yeah, it's a fairly decision. And then you think about the commute in those two metro areas, the North California, San Francisco, San Jose area, and Los Angeles. You save in Sacramento, you don't spend 2 hours or 3 hours in the everyday commute.
No.
It's easy. But
Yeah.
there, you cannot be with the family. You are tired,
And stressed out.
stressed out. Yeah,
It's not only the 2 hours driving, it's the stress involved in that bumper to bumper. This freeway is closed down, that freeway is closed down. There's accidents all over. No, the Sacramento, you just jump in the car and turn on the radio, and you're at work in 30 minutes, right?
yeah.
It's quick.
I have a commute of 13 minutes
Yeah,
one way,
yeah,
and that is no traffic, nothing.
yeah. No, that's so good, so good. Yeah, I always intuitively knew what was better. I mean, this calculation is specific to IT manager ones, but a lot of this translates to any any sort of professional area. It really does. So let's go. Can we move on to the third slide?
Yeah. And actually, for different other scenarios, can't you have my analysis on the spreadsheet? So if people are joining at different levels, they can look the similar calculation for themselves. Yeah.
And so perfect. I'm glad you reminded me of that. So I'm in. We're not going to go over every possible scenario. Amit did a if then else or what if spreadsheet with different scenarios on different levels and how the numbers would foot out and such. And I'm going to include those, posting this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I'll include the link to that spreadsheet. I'll share the spreadsheet and include the link to the share and the detail um, part of the YouTube stuff down below the YouTube video. So it'll be in the details. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the third. It's the third slide. So Ahmed, if you want to continue.
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk about uh, people at 45 years plus, what are the problems they will be facing in the private IT sector, and compare that with the Cal State California State job at Sacramento. So I already mentioned that getting laid off after 45 years age is a reality in IT industry.
It's a
We
high
have seen this
probability.
we have seen this from 2000 because I have been tracking from 2000 onwards.
Well,
Age discrimination is also a reality. Okay. And that is a simple reason. There is economic reason. There is a capitalistic rationale for that. Okay. We need to accept that. We can complain, but that is a reality, and we have to accept there is a rationale for it.
yeah.
Okay. And this is actually amplified by there is an oversupply of young technical workers who are willing to work for the lower salary
Mhm.
for various reasons. Coming outside from US, produced within the US, we have overproduction of IT professional
Yeah.
because this salary was so high, everybody rushed in, dropping other engineering areas. And this is unfortunate. It is starving. Other engineering areas are starving because of this. Maybe it will take another 7 to 8 years for correction, but the pain is real.
Yeah.
And due to this, people will be forced to retire after 50 plus age. My peer group, I have seen from 45 years onwards, I suspected that 25% of people are sitting without jobs from 45 years onwards. Okay. So this means that a IT worker who was getting 200 plus income in San Francisco Bay Area, they will not have that income after 50 plus years of age. They will not. That is the reality. How much you beat about it, it is not going to happen. So our reading is that the income will reduce by 30 to 50%. So I took the average of 40%. So that means after 50 years of age, expected income would be around 100,000 per year.
Mhm.
Now, if you think that one spouse is working, other spouse is not, you will finally get to the same level per head, per capita. So how much where you calculate, you are going to get that round about that figure. So when I mentioned that the comparison between 250,000 versus 200 something plus, it is actually comparison between 250,000 and 100,000 income.
Yeah, and so we talked about when the numbers were similar, 1 to 1 almost, and then we had to look at the other quality of life things to maybe push us in the direction of working for the state. Now it's really a no-brainer. Not only are the quality of life issues putting you over, but just that base income, which has been drastically reduced. Now it's really a no-brainer. And if you haven't made that change already, um, I mean, you should be looking at it very hard right now if you're 45 years or older and you're lucky enough to not have been laid off yet. You should be looking at a state job. If you're willing and able, you should be looking at a state job sooner than later.
Yes, because this is going to eventually come. Even
Yep.
some people are laid off, they're thinking that, oh, I will just get it after a year. It's not going to happen, most likely. That is the most likely scenario is not going to happen. You have to finally, it will take you 2, 3 years to accept it. And why I'm telling this, because I know I have friends at a high, senior age than me. They got laid off in 200,000. They were not able to get back to the technical industry. They eventually accepted the fact and moved on to some other industry, and of course at a lower income level.
Yeah.
So when now at this time I want to compare between what is the most likely scenario in private sector versus what is the most likely scenario in the public sector.
Okay.
And that comparison, I put it in Excel sheet that just by taking the decision to move into private sector, how much economic value in terms of net worth you can generate just by taking the decision. And I wanted to tell that in financial analysis world, we always calculate that if I take a decision, how much economic value I generate. So it's the same kind of analysis.
Yep.
Okay. And as per my calculation, we add 1.5 million over lifetime just by switching over to the private sector from to the public sector from private sector.
Yeah, this is the net,
Net
right?
net. Yeah, this is the
In
net
your
net.
pocket. Effectively, you're giving yourself 1.5 million by making that switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is. So what I want to say is that if you got laid off, somebody got laid off, maybe they are paying more attention to this. But if somebody has not because of chance, luck factor, or whatever skill, evaluate that whether this what I have explained, is it a likely or not, and then take a decision. It's a purely economic decision, but reflect
Yeah.
and then see that I know many people, they have bought houses in San Francisco Bay Area. Many people are without job over multiple years. Now they have to understand that they have to move into greener pasture. So whatever it means that they have to go beyond that current state or past. So they have to look in the future. And Sacramento is a good area to retire even because very low cost.
100%.
Okay. So I think it's a good, I would say, retirement plan.
I
And after 50, people should start looking at that. Uh,
100%. And like we said, the details of that net present value calculation are in the spreadsheet that I am going to include a link to down on the details of this YouTube video. So if you want to really drill down and look at those numbers very, very hard, it will be there. But I think at the high level, just going through these 3 slides that we've gone through, I think it lays out a pretty good. I think it's a plan B, a very good plan B, given that what the IT professionals are doing currently in the private sector or the corporate world, or however you want to, the outside, I like to call it, that maybe that was your plan A, and maybe it was a good plan at one point in time. But I think that the argument has been made here that if you're not already looking at a plan B, you better be looking at a plan B. And this, looking at the state of California as an option or opportunity for you, is a very viable one for all these reasons that Amit has laid out. So Amit has been gracious enough, and thank you, Amit, for
You're welcome.
developing the slide deck and doing all the research and all the calculations and all that stuff. I think that it's outstanding work, and I think it's clear um, for anybody to understand who's possibly looking at a plan B. But Ahmed has also graciously offered that if people have some specific questions um, that that maybe an IT manager would be more likely able to answer than me. I was not an IT professional. I did training and contracting for the state. Uh, that he's graciously offered to address some of those questions if and when they come in. So um, I will, if you ask those questions either via email, and my email is Cali Job Coach, right, at outlook.com, Cali Job Coach at outlook.com, or if you put those in the questions, if you comments on the YouTube video, if you add a comment with a question, I'll filter those. The ones I can answer, I'll absolutely answer, but ones that really require an IT professional to answer, um, I'll I'll send those to Amit, and he's graciously offered to answer those, and then I'll feed those back that way. Is is that right, Amit? Are you still
Yeah.
you still
Yeah. I'd be available. Yeah, I can answer those.
there
Yeah.
shouldn't be thousands of questions, and I will
Yeah.
collate them. The questions that are all the same, I'll present that to you with one question, and then I'll give everybody, however many that is, the answer. But yeah, I'll collate those so you're not going to address hundreds of thousands of questions. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I appreciate your time, Amit. It's Sunday, um, November the 23rd. Oh, by the way, and Ahmed graciously offered to spend this time with us on a Sunday. So very much appreciate that, sir. Very valuable stuff. This isn't this isn't to help Ahmed. This isn't to help me. Right. This is to help some people out there who um, they're IT professionals. Number one, maybe they don't even live in the state. I did want to address this. Amit was 100% correct when he said you have to live in the state when you start working for the state of California. But you can absolutely apply for these jobs not living in California, and you can absolutely interview either face to face or online. A lot of the interviews with the state departments are done via Microsoft Teams, or some even do it via Zoom. You can go through the whole process, apply, interview, up until you could even negotiate an offer um, with the department. The only caveat is that on day one, on day one of job start, that's when you have to work. That's when you have to reside, rather, in the state of California. Okay, so you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket and move to California to get this process going. You can do that from wherever you're at, as long as when you've gotten your offer, you've agreed on a start date, that day one of the start, you live in the state of California, then you're good to go. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
Did you have
And
anything else you wanted to say
yeah,
before we
I wanted to add another thing. So uh, this is about the timing. So I'll share what we are seeing in terms of applications. We don't get enough people with the right skills who will be effective at the work. So at times we have to decrease, or bring down the bar. So which means, and this is, I don't think that it is only with the area I work in, it is everywhere because the problem is pervasive. So which means that now is the time when it is much more easy to get in from the private sector to public sector. Now, with the layoffs and with the lot of unemployment in IT sector right now, people will understand this, and over maybe 2 years, they will start rushing in. And that time, the bar will be raised significantly, and it will be much harder, maybe after 1 year, after 2 years. So if somebody is serious, they have to be the early movers to take the benefit, because as a person who you are looking for work, it is not a very pleasant to go through a very high bar to go interview stringent and the uncertainty. Okay, so there is a bit of urgency or timing factor from a viewpoint of the person who is applying. I think they should apply right now, quickly, to take the advantage of this market situation.
So that's a great point. And again, Ahmet and I aren't getting paid to do this
Yeah.
video. This is just from his perspective as an IT professional working for the state of California right now. Now and the next year, maybe year and a half, is a very good time to get in and get started with the state of California, right? So did I summarize that correctly?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Perfect. And so it is sort of an arduous process, and that's why I created my videos in the first place. So watch my videos. Lots of thousands of people have gotten jobs at the state by watching my videos. The channel is called the Cali State Job Coach. You can literally watch my videos. It's free, and it walks you through the process from A to Z, and you can get a job as an IT professional with the state of California that way, um, sooner than later. Okay, if you do need some extra help, some people do. No, I do. I do the coaching that I helped Amit with, and I do that for other classifications too. Um, so if you do need a little bit extra help, you can absolutely reach out. You can put a comment on my YouTube video. I read every single comment saying that you need help. I'll reach out to you that way, or you can just send me an email at the Cali Job Coach at outlook.com email, and I'd be more than happy to help you. I love help. I'm retired now. Um, I don't need a lot of money. I do it because I love helping people, good people, get good jobs with the state of California. So there's a win-win-win. And Amit knows, as an IT professional, there is a paucity or lack of IT skills coming in to the state at the point of need, and the need is great right now. So if you're an IT professional, please, look at this, watch this video again if you need to, if maybe we were talking too fast or at a higher level, but this is good stuff. This is the meat. I think that it'll help you. Um, and if you need extra help, I just told you what you can do. So with that, we've been right about an hour. I was hoping we would not go too much past that. So good job, Amit, keeping
Okay.
things complete yet concise. I do appreciate that, and appreciate your time on Sunday again. Thank you so much for
Thank you
helping
for coming on.
helping with this. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. All right, everybody, have a good rest of your day, whatever day that is, whenever you're watching this YouTube video.